Okay, so what I was just saying is we are setting their image size, and we want 720 HD 720 as our render size. Most likely, if you didn't shoot in 720p or HD 720 on your camera, then you will want to select the dimensions of the image for your camera that you use. But in the beginning of the semester, this is what I recommended. Okay. So with that done, we can close this. I did change this to legacy sampling mode, and that ought to be good. Oh, we're rendering with Mental Ray. Okay, so I almost forgot to tell you how to get to that. Okay, so to make sure if Mental Ray is not an option in your render settings, then you need to go to Window, Settings, Preferences, Plugin Manager. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see this Maya TOMR, Maya to Mental Ray. That's what that stands for. And you need to check Loaded. You can also check Auto Load if you wanted to, and then it will load from here on out in all of your work for Maya. The reason that we're using Mental Ray is it does a nicer job of rendering an image. Okay. Once that's done, it automatically makes the update. You don't have to confirm it or anything. And you can just press close. Okay. Now with all that done, our render settings all set, we can go to Render, Batch Render, Option Box. And we can click on Batch Render or Batch Render and close. Okay. Now, we got one more thing we need to check in our render settings, and that is our frame range. Okay, we want to make sure that our frame range is set to match our time slider. So I need to set this to 21, the end frame. And if for some reason I didn't start on frame 1, then you would also want to set the start frame to whatever frame you started your animation on. Okay, now we'll close. And then we can click Batch Render and close, and it's going to render a whole bunch of images and store them in the image file. So you're going to want to make sure that you set your project before you tell it to render. So in this case, I'm using my recent projects, but you could also just click the Set Project and then navigate to it and set it. Okay? That way it will save all the images where you think it's going to save them, because it's going to generate a bunch of them. Okay, click Batch Render and close. If you're using a student version like I am, then you'll just want to click Continue. And down here in the status bar, or the help line, or not the help line, but the output display, it tells you what's going on. It says rendering with Mental Ray, ... And now it started rendering images. Okay. Now, you can see it's named my file sampling lighting or sample lighting dot the frame number .iff. And then if I look over here, it gives me a percentage done of each one, which just plows right through it. Okay. So it's rendering the different passes. Okay, so it's finished. This is a kind of a nonsense sort of scene, so it rendered really fast. I don't recommend rendering anything very heavy on a laptop. But if that's your only choice, then, I don't know, say a prayer before you start. Rendering is really hard on computers. Okay. So with that done, we should go check our file structure. Oh, wrong class. And if I go to Images, here's layer 1, and there's all my images. And here's the animation in all its glory. Okay. Now, obviously I didn't put hardly any time into this, but it will work the same for your objects, except it will look a whole lot nicer. Okay. So that's about it for rendering and rendering layers and rendering and passes. Next, we'll go into After Effects and learn how to mask out things and composite our image.